Hi, I'm Miss Jody from Little Music Makers of Flagstaff, and I know that a lot of my students have tickets to see the Lollipop version of the Nutcracker ballet, and I'm so excited about it. It is such a magical performance, and getting to see it with a live symphony orchestra up there behind it, it's just, I can't wait to hear what you think about it. But the Lollipop version is just half of the actual ballet. On Friday and Saturday night, the performance takes place with the whole thing, but the Saturday afternoon Lollipop version is just the second half. So before you go to it, I wanted to share the story of the first half, what happens before the part starts that you'll see, and then I want to share some things for you to look for in the second half while you watch and listen. So before we do that, let's talk about the Nutcracker. This is a Nutcracker. This is just a decoration. And you see these a lot this time of year. And the ones that we see now are just for decoration. But when I move this lever, his mouth moves, because long ago, nutcrackers were used to crack the nut, the shell of the nut, before you could eat the inside of it. And you would put it in the nutcracker's mouth and pull the lever, and it would crack, and then you could eat the inside of it. Now, these decoration ones, look, I can't even fit that inside of his mouth, so that doesn't quite work. But if you look around this time of year, you can see tons of these decorations and all sorts of different things with them. So you can look around for those. And this story is about a little girl who is given a nutcracker as a gift. And I'll leave the rest for the story because it tells all about their adventures. The story of the Nutcracker begins with a little girl named Clara who is having a big Christmas party with her parents and her brother Fritz, and they've invited all their friends. Well, the last guest to arrive is her godfather, Herr Drosselmeyer. And her godfather is everybody's favorite. He comes with stories, he comes with magic tricks, and he comes with toys for everyone. Well, Clara gets the best toy of all. She gets a nutcracker. And when he gives it to her, she dances with it and she plays with it. Well, her naughty little brother, Fritz, sees this happening and he grabs the nutcracker from her and he runs away with it, and it drops and it breaks. And Clara is so sad. Well, her godfather comes over and wraps a handkerchief, a scarf, around the nutcracker and tells Clara that she needs to be the nurse for it. Well, she takes great care of the nutcracker and puts it to bed. And then she goes upstairs to bed herself. Well, after a little bit of time, she decides to sneak back downstairs to see the nutcracker. And she falls asleep with the nutcracker in her arms. Suddenly, the clock strikes, and out of nowhere, Godfather appears, and he fixes the nutcracker, and all of a sudden, these magical things happen. The Christmas tree grows to be really tall, and all of the toys become life-size. Well, as all of this is happening, an army of mice come in, and they are led by the King of Mice, who gets into a huge battle and a sword fight with the nutcracker. Well, Claire's watching all of this and finally takes off her shoe and throws it as hard as she can at the King of Mice. It hits him and he falls down and all of the mice disappear. Well, the nutcracker realizes that Clara saved his life. He magically turns into a prince and takes her hand and leads her to the land of sweets. That's the point where the story begins for the Lollipop ballet, and that's where we'll go next. All right, we are on to the second act of the Nutcracker. This is the part that starts the Lollipop performance. So the first thing I want you to know is that the music that you'll hear throughout the whole thing is an orchestra that is up on stage. So at the beginning of it, you'll get to see them. And in fact, as you're getting to your seat and getting ready, you'll see the musicians come and start to sit down and play their instruments a little bit and warm up. And then when it's time to start and the lights go down, the person in front playing violin will stand up, and he's going to make sure that everybody is playing in tune, ready to play together. And once that's done, so you'll hear a bunch of different sounds together. Once that's done, he will sit back down, and the conductor of the orchestra will come out, and he'll take a bow, and he will step up onto what's called a podium, and he'll put his arms up, and he will conduct the orchestra through the whole thing. But the first part of it is called the overture. It's what you're hearing now as I'm talking. And after that overture, a scrim will come down, like a curtain that will come down. But if you look carefully, you'll still be able to see the orchestra behind it while the rest of the show is going on. So that leaves room in front for all of the dancers. In a ballet like this, the whole story is told through dancing. So there won't be any talking up on stage. Everything in the story that they want to tell you about, they'll tell you through the way that they dance, the way that they move. So you'll have to use your imagination with what some of the words are. But I want you to watch. The boys that are dancing are super strong. They're actually able to lift up the girls for some of the dancing that they do together. You'll also see a lot of the dancers that are a little bit older are basically dancing on their tippy toes. They have these special shoes called point shoes that they wear to help them stay all the way up on the tips of their tippy toes while they dance. And it's really, really tricky and really impressive to see them dance like this. So where we left off with the first part was the Nutcracker had turned into a prince and had invited Clara to come with him to the land of sweets. So the second part starts with him coming in on a sleigh and then being welcomed to the land of sweets. Well, there's a throne, a very special place that they get to sit and watch this whole performance that happens in the land of sweets, just like you'll get to watch from your seat. They're watching it with you. Well, they will get up and dance some, but they're doing a lot of enjoying the show, just like you are. And each part of this next thing that comes up is a different set of dancers, different music, different costumes. So you'll get to see lots of different things. There's a dance of hot chocolate, a dance of coffee. Let's see, a couple of favorites that I want you to watch for are some of the littlest dancers. Some of them are only a year or two older than some of you. They are the marzipan sheep. So they're dressed as little sheep, and they come out with an older girl who is the shepherdess, and she helps take care of them and remind them what to do, and they'll dance all around her, and she'll dance with them, and then they'll leave. Another really fun one is Mother Ginger. So this huge woman with this huge dress comes out, and out from under her dress run all of these little dancers, the gingers they're called. And they'll dance and they'll play. And then she says it's time for them to go. Remember, she doesn't say it. She shows it with her movements. And so it's time for them all to come back under. But as they're leaving the stage, there's a couple of naughty little kids who don't follow her directions, and they stay out there. So as she's leaving the stage with the rest of them, she's yelling at those other ones that they need to do what they're told, and they need to come with her. So then they all leave. Well, there's a few others that I know you'll recognize from things that you've heard, especially in class. One thing that I really want you to watch for is the Sugar Plum Fairy. And this is a really good one for you to get to watch her up on her toes, like we talked about that special, the special way that they dance up on their toes. So all of these different things happen, and I don't want to tell you too much about it. I want you to be excited to see what comes next. But the story does end after this huge party at the Land of Sweets, where it goes back to the house, and Clara is asleep with the Nutcracker, still kind of by the Christmas tree, cuddled up. And you'll get to see then all of the dancers one more time come out, and they'll dance a little bit more to the music and take bows, and then the show is over. So I can't wait to hear what you think about it. I can't wait to hear what your favorite parts are. If you'd like to do some more with this, I have a few coloring pages ready for you. I have a few links These are all on the website, flagmusicmakers.com. I have a few links for some activities that you can do with dancing with ribbons, dancing with scarves, to get ready with some of this music. And there's a Spotify